Episode number 181, Steve and Mike. Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton.
This is Mike Snyderman.
How the hell are we, Mikey?
Okay.
Right on.
Kicking it old school today, just you and I guess, huh?
Yeah, just the dynamic duo, Batman and Robin. Next week, though, I've got an interesting guest coming up. We're getting Zach Elwood is coming back on again, the modern day Mike Caro. Live tells. I'm excited about this one. We got a special giveaway. Zach is being very generous, and he's going to give away a lifetime membership to his live video series. So Live Poker Tells, a video series. I've watched them all at least twice, and they came in really handy at the WSOP last year. So he's going to give away a free subscription to that. So stay tuned, and I'll tell you how you can get it.
Very cool. Very nice.
Pretty sweet, yes. I'm excited.
What are you up to? What are you up to, Steve? Where are you on vacation again? I know you only work like one day every 3 months.
That's pretty accurate. I wouldn't call it vacation. My shoulder's healing up pretty well. 2 days ago was the last day that I had to wear the sling, and so I didn't wear it. Felt pretty good, and every day it feels like it's getting stronger. I've noticed a big correlation with sleep, too. If I sleep like an extra, if I'm sleeping like 9 hours or something, then when I wake up, my shoulder's a little bit stiffer, but it feels stronger than if I were to sleep only 5 or 6 hours and then wake up. So there's a big healing process that's going on when I'm sleeping. And basically what I'm doing every day is I'm playing online poker for 6 to 10 hours, and every 5-minute break every hour I get up and I stretch it and do some physical therapy, and then I go back to playing. So I think ideally, as far as recovery, this is probably the most efficient you could get, doing physical therapy every hour for 5 minutes on an injury, and then I'm at least entertaining myself in the meantime. But burning right through my vacation leave and all my annual leave, when I go back, it'll probably be zero.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, that's a bummer, but oh well. I'm just grateful that I could still that I had the time to be able to get paid while I'm off.
Right. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I went to. I had a bad session last night. Lost $1,900.
Live cash.
Yeah, kind of. Again, this was like old school. 4 a.m. It's like, oh, let me get the hell out of here. And I had trips, and basically, as played, the guy could only have a flush. I mean, it was runner, so it's like, what the hell could this guy have, kind of. But yeah, I'm sorry. There's something weird sound coming from my bathroom. I'm pretty sure it's an alien who's broken into the house, Steve.
Could be that or Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's about it.
Sasquatch is probably equally.
Anyways, likely. not that interesting a hand, but for much of this year, this was a hand I was capable of kind of laying down and just saying, you know what, this is just not a winning night. Even if you're playing perfectly 30-40% of the time, you're going to leave losing money at the casino, and this was going to be one of those nights. And if I folded this hand, I could have left down 1,300 rather than 1,900. But I don't know, Steve. Still got a lot of work to do here, mental game and other aspects of it. But whatever.
How many hours a week have you been playing?
50 hours a week, probably.
Okay.
I grind long and hard. I mean, the games are pretty bad there sometimes, you know what I mean? Where it's like basically my hourly is probably like $30 an hour kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I got to grind those hours. I got to grind those hours as well, because it's not really much of a choice. What else is going on here, Stevie?
What else has been going on?
Nice little bump for Bitcoin this morning.
I saw that. Yes, I'm pretty excited. I saw it at 81. I'm like, okay, we haven't seen it this high in, I don't know, several months.
I'll have to look at how I'm going to sell this, because somebody told me that Bank of America is just totally off Bitcoin.
Really? Okay.
I don't know if I don't know if that's accurate. I don't do my research. I get all my information from the world at poker tables, Steve. So not the. So I was going to being lazy here is try to find an exchange that allows me to sell for Bitcoin. Let me sell the Bitcoin to another exchange where I can hook it up with my Bank of America account, but that might be difficult. So I might have to start a checking account at Wachovia or someplace else, or find a bank that allows this.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into it, and I still have to decide what's the price where I'm getting out, because I just got too much of my money in there, and at some point I need to. Like I said, at the high point, I was up almost 100,000 on coin.
Yeah.
So I'd love to reach that point again, and call it a great victory, and just get out, give up my chance for being a millionaire, but be happy that I have a decent life roll.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know if I'm going to get there. Still, the altcoin stuff, like some of them are going down in price.
Yeah.
Even on a day with Bitcoin. I don't know I forget what percentage of your account is Bitcoin and what percent of yours is you got a lot of the shitcoin, right?
Yeah. It's not even altcoin anymore. It's shitcoin. Yeah. About half of it's Bitcoin. 20, maybe 30% is the Ethereum and Litecoin, and then the other 20 is altcoin, or air quotes shitcoin, as we're referring to it now. But
I don't even know if that's I don't know if that's a figure of speech anymore. But yeah, some of this stuff I'm just going to go down with the ship, like the substratum, the one that I have like 4,000 or 5,000 of. I think I bought it $2.
Yeah.
It's worth like 19 cents or something, and there's like 3 of those that are basically just probably going to go down to 0, but I don't know. On the slight chance that one of them turns around, you never know.
Yeah, I went through my roll on ACR, and so I got to redeposit, and I'm like, what do I pull out? I got to use some of these coins to deposit. Which ones am I going to pull? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to pull out of some of those altcoins and just keep a few hundred of each one or something, just in case it goes back up, I can recover the dough. But I don't know. Another part of me is like, don't sell any of it. Just keep it and ride out the storm. But I still got like 10K on the table that is just there,
Yeah, I don't know. I still, even the altcoins that are probably they're gonna endure and have value, just might not have the growth of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Or might not have the strength. Or definitely won't, but they're just not going to grow at the same level. So I have my Monero and my Zcash and my Neo are supposed to be 3 of the stronger ones, but God only knows,
Yeah. But I'm trying to think of what else is new. Not much. I've just been playing a lot of online poker and then doing therapy, and that's about it. I'm just trying to get back to work as soon as I can. My shoulder really is kind of unsightly looking. I can see how guys go in to get the surgery so it aesthetically looks better, because the collarbone on my right side is sticking up about 1.5 inches where it should be. I'm still not used to looking at myself in the mirror. Even with a t-shirt, you can really see it. It's basically, you just have to relearn to use your shoulder, because now the bones are in different positions. So you got to build up some muscles, and other muscles are going to get weaker because they're not used as much. And it's kind of a strange injury.
This is weird.
With modern technology, there would be a better fix for it, but there really.
So it always, I'm confused. So it's not really healing. If it doesn't sound like that really is a heal, if it's your shoulder's still kind of out of whack, or it's just as strong. It's just the clavicle is in a different spot. I'm confused.
Yeah, so basically the clavicle, the collarbone, where it attaches to your shoulder, not where it attaches to your chest and your sternum, but where it attaches to your shoulder. There's like 3 major tendons or ligaments there, and those ripped, and the whole collarbone went up. And now what has to happen is those ligaments and tendons are not going to reattach themselves. They're basically going to get consumed by the body. it looks at them as debris. And so now it has to regrow a bunch of scar tissue onto nearby connecting bones and muscles and ligaments. And then it kind of starts over. And so that's your new shoulder, so to speak. So it's they can go in surgically and kind of cut stuff out and try to put in pins and stuff to get the bone down. But from what I've heard, your shoulder's usually not as effective as it would be had you not gotten the surgery. So.
Okay, so you're not just listening to your doctor, you're kind of being your own doctor, though, and doing a little research, too, it sounds like.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time on Google, and then especially my physical therapist. He said he's seen 100 of these. And so I'm pretty much doing exactly whatever that guy says. But, yeah.
So the online poker, you're still, even though Ignition is much softer, you're still kind of an ACR guy, just for those piss breaks, huh?
Well, that I have been playing Ignition, and I feel bad even saying that since you've had trouble getting money off of there.
Nah, that's fine.
But what I'm doing if I'm playing Ignition is I'll just play a $50 or $100 tournament instead of like $4, $20 or $30 tournaments on ACR. I try to fill the screen with about $100 worth of buy-ins or so. So if they don't have a $100 tournament coming up for a couple hours, then I'll jump in like a 50 and a 30 or something like that. But I would rather have one big tournament on there where I can consistently have the breaks than have several on there and just never get one.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You could go old school, Steve, with the piss bottle.
I could.
That's what a lot of
the Gatorade bottle.
A lot of the online grinders will talk about that, especially those heads up cash guys, where you're sitting there just waiting for someone to sit with you and play.
Yeah. I haven't done that one yet.
No, I never did. I was always playing on a laptop, and I want to go to the bathroom. I just pick it up and
you just pick it up. Yeah, I do the same thing.
But
yeah,
never really been an issue.
Yeah. For me, I just can't go that long. Like 8 hours with no break. I don't. I need to like mentally unwind. Well,
Carlos is here. Carlos is here, by the way.
Oh, he's at your house?
Yeah.
Oh, no shit. Okay. Is he sleeping or is he locked in his?
No, I mean he's at the library right now. He's doing some work, but
okay.
You maybe get him on. We should have probably gotten us all at the same time, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. How long has he been out there?
He arrived yesterday.
Okay.
So me and him are supposed to be working on a few things together here, losing weight.
Okay.
And then getting back in real hardcore study mode, watching poker videos every morning.
Right on.
We'll see how that works.
Good deal. What? I got a trip coming up with my dad. He's got a classic car. It's a 1956 Chevy 210 Bel Air. It's one of the older cars, how they'd have the themes where it would be like painted white and then like baby blue or something. So it was like a two-tone color, white and red or white and black, His is white and red. It's like that candy apple red, just a real bright red. The interior is the same. When you lift up the hood, he's done these custom valve covers with custom engraving. And anyways, he's won stuff at the shows and the car shows and all that. And he's driving his car. He's on the road now from Idaho all the way out to Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm going to fly out there and meet him with another buddy and his dad. And then we're going to be hanging out for, I think, 5 or 6 days or something like that, doing this car show. It's like a hot rodder thing where they all meet up at one town and then they drive several states over to the car show and then put their cars on show and then drive back. And so it should be an interesting, fun trip. I've
nice.
Never been to a giant car show like that, but he said there's like over 10,000 hot rods. I'm like, wow, that's impressive.
Is the Bel Air considered a hot rod?
No, not really. He doesn't have a hot rod motor in it. It's either a 327.
I'm looking at it. I'm actually looking at it right now with the two-tone, with the baby blue and the white. So that must be the exact car he has.
It's he's got the red and white.
Oh, the red and white. Okay.
Yeah. But I was just saying, the style back then was to have the white top with the colored side, and I like that, and that's what he's got. When you open up the hood, it's beautiful. He spent weeks just on designing these valve covers, custom engraved, and he's got an engraving of the car on one valve cover, and then an engraving of 1956 with the Chevy bow tie on the other one. And you open it up, everything's chrome. It just looks beautiful. But it as is true with a lot of older cars, he's been having problems with it about every 300 miles. So I'm kind of curious if when my buddy and I land out in Kentucky, if they'll be there or not. We'll see.
That's pretty funny.
Time will tell.
Yeah, that's a whole. Is this your dad's only car? No, he's got more than one.
No, I remember growing up. At one point, we had 9 cars, and I think only 4 of them ran. So he's kind of a collector of these things. Right now, he only has 3 cars, I believe. He's got his truck. He's got my mom's car, and then he's got this one. There's got to be another one he's got hidden somewhere that I'm not thinking of.
Maybe you already brought this up. What did your dad do growing up? What was his job?
Well, he started out in the Navy. He did that for 7 years, and then he got hired by a government contractor doing similar stuff that he was doing for the Navy. And then a buddy and he quit that job, and they opened up a muffler shop, which is ironically the guy he's going with on this car show. And they opened up a muffler shop for about 10 years, working on cars and doing exhaust systems. And then he sold that half of the business, and we moved up to Idaho for 3 years, where he, air quotes, retired, and then realized that he wasn't able to save enough for retirement for the rest of his life at 35 years old. And then we moved back to California. He went back to work for the same company that he originally worked for the government contractor, and retired out of there maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically government contractor work. I worked for the same company for 2 or 3 years, and we do things like, those Humvees,
Yep.
with a big, camper on the back of them. We'd install satellite equipment and stuff like that. I was a painter there for a while. So we'd paint missiles and drones and, all sorts of stuff for the government. A lot of like military weapons type stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty groovy, Steve.
Yeah, it was kind of neat. Yeah, I remember. I'll never forget that I painted one of these missiles, and then they came back, and I had to paint it again because there was. If you guys are a painter, you know what fish eyes are. It's like when you paint, and there was a little piece of dust or something on the surface that you're painting, and the paint isn't able to grab onto that surface, so it kind of creates like this little dot in the middle, and it's called a fish eye. I had to repaint it. Thing's gonna blow up, and I had to repaint the damn thing. I thought it was pretty funny. Why is this country in debt?
Yeah, really, huh?
Okay.
Well, when is our Steve, as we bounce around namelessly from topic to topic, when is our economy going to turn south here? It's got to happen soon, right? I was listening to some guys on this. Well, it's been 8 years of growth, but typically this is about the amount of time that it. Usually, every 8 years, there's some kind of dip. The question is how big or how bad it'll be.
Was it the Joe Rogan podcast?
No.
Okay, I heard a similar thing on that one, and the guy was saying about the same thing. He said it's been 8 to 9 years. We're overdue. It should have happened a few years ago, but it didn't. His big thing was to invest in gold and silver, like precious metals.
So was this guy like a survivalist type? Like when it drops this time, brothers, it's going to be forever.
No, he didn't have a bunch of AKs in his trunk or anything.
Okay.
No, he's basically just an economist. He moved down to Puerto Rico to avoid some taxes and stuff. Just sounded like a real smart economist guy. I'm not really sure how you can invest and profit from it. He recommended getting out of all the coins. So
okay.
He lives down there. His neighbors are basically these guys that, through foresight and probably a lot of luck, they became millionaires off of Bitcoin. They're buying it when it was 50 cents and then sold it when it was thousands, and moved down and became his neighbors. And they're super sold on it, but he wasn't. But he's also not involved in the crypto, so
right.
Who knows? Who knows?
Some of these bastards, man, who got out already with all their dollars.
You know,
Set for life.
it's kind of I don't know what adjustment I'm going to make other than I don't have any desire to buy a house right now. I'm going to wait and see what the market does, and if it, according to this guy, it should go lower than it was in 2008, which would be insane, but maybe it will. I don't know. Then I might get one, or I think one of the strategies that I'll probably employ until it happens is I've been every month I've been throwing a few $100 into the stock market and just kind of willy nilly, what tips have I heard, and I haven't made much over the last 2 years, only like 5% in that account, but I may stop just doing that and start purchasing precious metals. That's about the only thing I think I can. I don't feel comfortable just selling all my crypto after hearing one guy on a podcast.
Right. Well, that's you don't have like a big chunk of your net worth or on there anyway, so it's not like if tragedy struck. Well, you've got probably a decent amount now, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, not discussing dollars. Yeah, the people who got rich off crypto. I don't know. Is there really any? I mean, it really is kind of unprecedented, right? I mean, I know how much if someone bought $10,000 of Amazon stock 10 years ago, I mean, how much is that worth now?
Oh God, yeah. It at last I checked, Amazon was up to 1,700. It's like nuts. And they have some of the best graphs in the stocks. I mean, if you look at their 20-year graph, it's impressive. It just climbs.
No, but I mean, how much? But my point is, even like the most spectacular stock growth can't really match what Bitcoin did for if people did it, timed it well. True. I don't know if there's always these things. There's always there's always going to be some company that that nobody really knows too much about, that some bastard's going to put a few thousand on, take a shot, and get. But the level of growth of Bitcoin and the speed of it, I don't know if there's ever been anything like it or ever will be again. I mean, I'm not an economist, so I can't look at history and all that. But I'm guessing even like Mac, and I think I heard some of the wasn't it the I don't know, the Facebook stock, wasn't there a thing where when they had their first headquarters, they hired someone to paint a mural, like, do you want to do this, or do you want like 0.5% of the company or something? So rather than getting paid $50,000 for his artwork, he made $20 million. Or I mean, there's all the different stories of making it rich, but I just think for some of these guys with their Bitcoin on the palatial estates in Mexico, there's nothing comparable. But,
yeah. Yeah. That was a fun couple months.
Well, yeah, but I'm not even talking about those months. I mean, like for people who even get it earlier than that, obviously, the people who did get in when it was $100 each.
Yeah. Well, I've got a few hands from a tournament last night.
Sure.
All right, let's do it. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with some strategy. You want to start shipping tournaments? Tournament Poker Edge, or TPE as it's known in the biz, if you fancy. Tournament Poker Edge is the best training site out there for tournaments. If you're serious about getting better at poker, this will be the best thing you've ever done for your tournament game. TPE. Check out the forums. Watch the free training videos. They have over 10 hours of free training videos to watch. Start with those and just devour them. When you sign up, use the code HUP month, HUP quarter, or HUP year. You will get a discount. You will SYSC. Save yourself some cash. Tournament Poker Edge, the best tournament training site ever. Okay, this first hand, I played a $55 Ignition 7K last night. This first hand's kind of quick. I'm just curious what you would do. Well, I guess on the flop. Okay, so we're in the, maybe even pre-flop. This might be a little bit loose. This table was pretty passive. We got 80-something bigs. The stacks behind us have something similar, between 40 and 80 bigs. Most of them have around 70. But we're in the beginning stages of the tournament. Blind levels are 75, 150. No ante. And we've got 8-7 of hearts, in the low jack. Are you raising this at a passive table?
Yeah. I'm sorry. There was an early position raise.
No.
Are you opening it? You're saying?
I'm opening it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm opening it at any table, I think, but
Okay.
that's probably might be wrong. But yeah, I love that hand.
Okay, me too. All right, we got 8-7 of hearts. We bump it up. Blind levels are 75, 150. We bump it up to 495, and we get one call from the hijack. He's got 44 bigs. Then it folds around to. That's it. We're heads up.
You said you made it 495 when it was 75, 150.
I did, yeah.
Is this a new thing you're experimenting with, the big opens, or?
I am, yeah. I've been doing it since my coaching session with Alex. Now it's a little bit tougher on Bovada because for some reason, like typing it in is just a bitch. Like you have to click on the numbers several times. Sometimes it takes, sometimes it doesn't. So
right.
If I didn't have to use the slide bar, I would have opened a 466 for 3.1. But I couldn't. I really couldn't get it that close with the slide bar unless you're going to take all of your 30 seconds to get the number exactly right, and then trying to click on the thing. There's something with the software; it just doesn't allow you to click on there and type in the numbers.
Okay. But there are antes in there.
There shouldn't be. It's 75, 150. I can back it up and check.
I can't remember. Some sites the antes start pretty early there. There would already be like a 15 ante.
Nope, no ante.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay. So we open 8-7 of hearts in the low jack. The hijack calls us, and we got a pot of 12-15. And the flop is, with 8-7 of hearts, the flop is ace of clubs, 6 of spades, 5 of hearts. Okay, so we're open-ended with a backdoor heart draw. There's 12-15 in the pot, and effective stacks are 6,100. So we got a stack to pot ratio of about 5. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I would probably bet small here.
Okay. What's the reasoning for small?
Well, if you bet bigger and he raises, you might not be getting the right. You kind of have to fold. Well, no, I guess you could bet. You don't have to bet big here because basically he's going to be folding everything other than an ace frequently. I mean, he might float and stuff. I think you get the same number of folds.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
I think to the average villain, when you bet 350 here, he's probably folding 50%, and when you bet 600, he's betting 10% more. Maybe total conjecture.
He's folding all his broadways without an ace.
This is just a thing I think for Mark, especially. He thought I was often c-betting too much that I didn't need, but especially on these ace high boards, people are giving up a lot. You know what I mean? If they didn't hit their set, or if they had a couple suited broadways, unless they have a flush draw too, they're going to give you credit for an ace.
Yeah. Okay. I do that when I raise and a flop back comes out like this, and I have ace queen or something for a top pair. I'll lead out usually for like a third pot, whether I have the ace or not, and it seems to be pretty damn effective. When you don't have the ace, you get a lot of folds, like you're saying, and when you do, you can kind of string them along. Yeah, I don't know why, but I went bigger here. I went 925 into 1200, which I think is just way too big. I like your sizing a lot better. Keep it to like 500 and below, because I think you're right. He's folding all his broadways there. Maybe he's like peeling with tens or jacks, but I don't think he's going to call a turn bet.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I lead out and he folds, but I was thinking the same thing you were, that that bet sizing is probably just too big for this hand. Because, like, if he comes back over the top, we basically bet 1K. Now we got 2K in there, and he's got 6 behind. Like, he could really push us off our hand that has a decent amount of equity.
That's a good spot to talk about. Yeah, I'd be curious how people who know what they're doing do. Myself. No, but I think that spot comes up a fair amount where you open, and on these ace high boards, you have, let's say you have a draw. Like, I feel like I've played that exact hand a lot of times, and I'm always a little confused. The other thing is, if you see bet and they call, like, what is your double barreling frequency? Because so often they have an ace, and there's not a turn card that is going to get them to fold that often if they have an ace. So a lot of times in that spot, let's just say he called. Let's say you bet small and he called. I'm going to bet again, but I'm like, I want it to be small again, rather than, because if I check to him, it's going to be big. So I'm betting, just still hoping to catch. I don't know if it actually.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to keep him from raising you off your hand.
Well, or keeping him from betting real big if you check to him.
Yeah.
Where you're not getting the price to draw. So I'm just saying, if he called here with a straight draw, if I didn't pick up a flush draw, I might actually be check giving up, depending on his sizing, quite a bit. Because I don't think you can barrel somebody off unless you're going to just put him on only. For some reason, this villain, you're only going to put on crappy aces. If you saw his hand face up and it was ace 9, I still think on ignition they're not folding that often, where you can't rep a bigger ace and bet shove.
On ACR, I think they would fold that. You'd be able to fold with double or 3 barreling, but on ignition, I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that hand is a hand that I open too much to.
It could. You definitely put yourself in spots like this.
A lot of times, that's the hand you want to be calling 2 bets with in position, or just getting in cheap somehow. And yeah, I don't know, Steve, but
yeah, okay.
I don't know. I'd be curious if you have the standard open charts where you're supposed to start opening 8-7 suited. I'm guessing from the low jack it's still an open, but I could be wrong.
Okay. This next one, I thought was kind of interesting, but I'm curious if this is a bad. We'll just go through it. Okay. So we're in the big blind. It's folds around to the button, who raises. He does a min raise. Blind levels are 200, 400. We're in the big blind. Before button comes in, there's a total of 960 in the pot. So that would be, what are the antes there?
40 ante times
ante.
9.
Okay.
360, yeah.
All right. So we got a 40 ante, 200, 400. We've got 50 big blinds. The button has 40.
Okay.
40 bigs effective. Button min raises to 800. Small blind folds. It's on us, and we've got 10 of clubs, 8 of hearts.
Against the min raise, especially, yeah, I'm going to call.
Okay. All right. No reason to raise here, right? If it was like 10-8 suited, I think I might 3-bet this, but offsuit, I think our only option here is calling, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So with 10-8 of clubs, we complete. Pot is 2160. Again, we got 50 bigs behind. Stack to pot ratio is about 7.5 to 1. Flop is 10 of spades, 7 of hearts, 6 of clubs. And we've got 10-8 off. It's on us. 2160 in the pot. Effective stacks are 15K.
You got the whole playbook open here, right, Steve?
I think so.
What is this guy's button opening range? You got the HUD there?
I got the HUD. We've only got 25 hands on him.
Okay. Well, that's, yeah.
And he's a 36-16.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a big enough sample to really.
Not really, no.
Make too much out. Yeah. I mean, usually this is a check call spot.
Okay.
Although because you also have the straight draw.
We got a gut shot at 9. He'll give us a straight, yeah.
Yeah, this would be one of those things. If he was in earlier position, it might be a better candidate to check raise because he's unlikely to have 2 pair and a lot of other combos. But here, when he's opening the button, he's opening wide. That hand's not necessarily better for our range than his. So yeah, I'm just going to check call.
Okay. I thought the same. I thought about leading here, but I don't want to get raised off our hand. But I think a check call keeps all his bluffs in, and yeah, I think it's pretty likely we have the best hand here. Okay, so we check. He checks behind.
Right. Okay.
So what are you ranging him on at this point?
Yeah, 2 overs that missed, or likely. Yeah, I mean, you're likely ahead here. Obviously, I guess he would. I don't know if he ever checks back sets. You block the nuts. Yeah. I'm putting him on smaller pairs and air.
Okay. All right. I think the same. Okay, so with 10 of clubs, 8 of hearts, we got 10-8 off suit in the big blind. The button raised us. We completed, and then we went check on the flop. The flop was 10 of spades, 7 of hearts, 6 of clubs, and the turn is the jack of spades. So the board now is jack of spades, 10 of spades, 7 of hearts, 6 of clubs. And we have the 10 of clubs, 8 of hearts. And it's on us. What are you thinking here?
Still in bluff catcher mode, I think. I don't think you can bet here. I think you got to call. Just check again.
Okay. Check call again.
I think that's what I would do. I mean, again, you can actually get value here. I mean, we can get called by worse. People that can call with ace queen, ace king, especially those have straight draws now. Yeah, maybe a little bet is the way to go here.
So yeah, in the moment I was thinking we could get value from if he picked up a spade draw. We don't have any spades, so we don't block that. So all the spades are in his range. If he's got king queen, we can get value from that. We can get value from ace queen, ace king, like you said. We're behind any jack that he has now. But if he raised the button with something like, I was going to say 8-7, but we block that. But if he has a 7 in his hand, maybe we get value from that. A7. I don't know. That might be a little ambitious to think he's going to call with a 7 there with a jack and a 10 out.
Yes, you made a decent argument for betting here, though. Like I said, the draws and the big aces. Yeah, I don't know how often someone's going to bluff raise here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I bet out. I bet out small. I bet out into 2160. I bet 617. So, what is that? Less than a third pot? Is that too small?
Okay.
I think. I mean, all the Broadways are calling, right?
I was just thinking. This is why I didn't want to bet, because in these hands, I'm often playing against myself, and I do think I sniff out weakness pretty good. So I'm like, if you bet small here, I would be bluff raising quite a bit, semi-bluff raising. If I had the ace queen and picked up the straight draw, with the ace of spades to block the nuts kind of shit. So that was going to be my argument for not betting small here. But, you bet 2/3, it looks like a more confident bet. If you want to just take it down. I mean, we're turning 10-8 into bluff here, basically, I think, more than like looking for value, right? I don't know, Steve. I have never. This is why you should be talking to Carlos. He knows a lot. Anytime I ask him a question, it's like without hesitation. He has maybe not the answer, capital letters, underline, but it's something he's thought about many times.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with my. So you bet small.
I did, yeah.
Okay. That's fine. You can get called by worse. We know that for sure. You can get called by ace high.
Yeah.
You bet 2/3 pot here. Ace X probably folds, but if you bet small, they might, talk themselves into a call here.
Okay. I bet small, and I make it 617 into 2100, and then he raises to 2000. This is the predicament you were talking about, betting small.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where some of these, if you're playing an ACR and you had 1,000 hands on them, some of these guys who are, the real top guys are do all sorts of study. And basically the question would be, well, is this guy going to capable of shoving river on a bluff? Because if he is, you got to fold now.
Yeah.
But if you think it's like he's just stabbing here and he might just check behind, give up on the river, I think you can call. So there's like that river aggression frequency or something. There's like a HUD answer to this probably.
Yeah.
Just throw that out. I don't know. I'm skeptical. What value hands is he doing this with? He's not checking back. Well, it was a rainbow flop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess sometimes he is checking back sets. But even if he was checking back over pairs for balance, I mean, how often are aces and kings playing it this way? They'd have to be worried about two pair. But I don't know if I had aces here and I had checked the flop, which I would do sometimes, I might raise here with one pair, just because your bet size.
Okay.
Raise for value, and then if somehow you shove, I can fold. So I don't think, in other words, I don't think he's super polarized where it's either the
nuts or nothing.
Yeah, or yeah, I don't know if it's ever nothing here. Maybe sometimes it is. It should be like he should have a draw. But
Queen 9 or something. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll just fucking do this with pocket threes and say no, this is my pot, But that's not how the smart people are doing it. I might call. I don't know. The fact that he's a 36-16, if you had more hands, that's usually considered a passive player when there's that big of a gap.
Yeah.
Which makes you, or at least that's your passive pre-flop numbers, which makes it maybe a little less likely that he is bluffing here.
Yeah. So do you lay it down? Do you call? What do you do?
I don't know. You're getting quite a price to call here, right? 26 plus 4,400, 13 to win 4,400. I mean,
almost 4,800 in the pot, and it's like 14 for us to call.
It's 4,800 in the pot. So yeah, basically, I mean, I might call.
Okay. All right. I flick in a call. I guess in the moment I was thinking I'm ahead of King Queen, I'm ahead of Ace King, I'm ahead of Ace Queen.
You have a draw towards it. You
Queen 9, 2 spades. He can't have 2 spades that beat us unless he's got 6, 7 of spades.
Right.
I don't know. I thought maybe it was worth flicking it in. So we flick it in. Pot is 6,100 now. Effective stacks are 13K, so it's about 2 to 1. The river is the 5 of hearts. So we got 10-8 offsuit. Final board is Jack of spades, 10 of spades, 7 of hearts, 6 of clubs, 5 of hearts. So 8-9's the nuts. What are you ever betting the river? That's just a check call, right?
I mean, if you wanted to turn it into a bluff, if you shove here, or bomb it, he's really can only call with a straight, which you block.
Yeah,
obviously, which you block. And how many 4x does he have? Yeah, if you wanted to turn your hand into bluff, it's not terrible.
I mean, if we shove though, I think Ignition, they might call, the average player might call it the jack there, you think?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Um, yeah, I'd be surprised. That's probably a site that's. I mean, I wouldn't be totally surprised. They'll probably always putting the person on a misdraw, kind of thing. Okay, you missed his flush. Yeah, it's check, and I'm gonna have a lot of. I want to see how big he bets.
Okay. All right.
I
We
don't know.
check.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what betting accomplishes here, unless you're betting to get him. You'd be betting as a bluff here, clearly, right?
I can't picture him calling with a worse hand if we bet.
So you're betting as a bluff. You'd be trying to get him to get fold basically a jack, or if somehow he has an overpair.
Yeah.
And to do that, we'd have to bet, I would think, really big. I mean, or you could make it valuate, but we've also said they don't like to fold on this site. So, yeah, I'm checking.
Okay. All right. We check. Villain into basically 6K in the middle. He bets a little bit more than half pot. He bets 3,500. So we got 9,600 in the middle, and it's 35 for us to call.
I think it's a fold.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean that's just my first instinct is it's a fold.
Okay.
If he has a big hand, if I had a set here or a straight, I'd be betting pretty big. I wouldn't be betting small for value because you called a raise on the turn. That's usually pretty strong stuff.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I don't know if we can make anything about it. He was maybe kind of large sizing. His sizing is I don't think we could really glean any information from that. That's my first instinct is fold. Again, I couldn't. Again, all those misdraws. If you think this guy, the fact that he's I think this guy's a passive player and he just doesn't bluff enough.
Okay.
But if we thought he was the kind of player who's going to make all sorts of semi bluffs on the turn, then you might have to look him up here. But I don't think he's that kind of player.
Okay. He bets, and I took a while, and I kept thinking to myself, I think this is a fold. But I ended up calling. I think my reasoning was if he's got ace, king, ace, queen, king, queen, any of his flush draws that missed on the river, he has to bet those or he can't win. And so my reasoning there was calling. But again, he's also got sets and two pairs and stuff in his range too. But having the 8 blocking the straight, I felt like it was a call, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I end up calling, and he shows up with ace 4 off suit.
Okay.
So absolutely nothing.
So you're playing with a Snyderman there, pretty much, yeah.
I think so, yeah. But this is what's so tough about Ignition is because the stats reset on each guy, and you have no idea who you're playing, so you can't get those 1,000 hands on the regulars to really kind of dissect the HUD and look at this stuff. But I don't know if I felt like that probably should have been long term a fold on the turn, but I don't know if my analysis was if I was able to articulate why I called, or I don't know. I wanted to pick your brain about it.
Well, I'm just quickly looking at it. It looks like you only have to be right about 36% of the time.
On the river?
Yeah.
Okay.
To make the call, so.
Maybe it was okay then. I mean, this time I was right, but in the long run, I don't know.
I think just as a general rule, it's always better to be, if you think someone's weak, it's always be betting to rebluff them rather than trying to hero call.
Okay.
As like a general rule in like the cash games, if I'm like, oh, he's weak here, the most he could have is this, that, the other. If I'm thinking of making a big call with second pair, then why not raise a river?
You're a lot more sure to take it down than wondering if your hand is good.
Right. I don't know if I really put that into action, but I mean, it's just something I don't know where I heard someone said that. Just get rid of the get rid of the hero calls and increase your late your river bluffing frequency, if anything.
Okay. Yeah. Just turn up the aggression. Okay. Okay. I got another one here. This hand here. Okay. All right. We're down to, out of 100 and some odd players, we're down to 11. Okay. So we're almost on the final table bubble. And we are 5-handed. And it folds to the button who min raises. So blind levels are 3,500, 7K. With antes, the pot is 14K before we start. And button raises, he min raises to 14K. He's got 59 big blinds. We're in the small blind with 20 big blinds and queen 10 offsuit.
Are you the short stack of the table, or what is the...
We are, let's see, we've got 59 big blinds who's opening on the button. We have 20. The big blind has 38. And the two other players have 20 and 16 big blinds. So we're kind of in the middle. Bottom edge of the middle.
Well, shove or fold, obviously, I think it's a spot for.
Okay. All right. I agree.
And again, this is one of those things you could take the equity calculator out. How often is he opening, and how often have you been shoving? If he's opening frequently to make this profitable, you need him to be shoving some hands that beat you, probably, right? So if you haven't been doing this, if you think it's a good time to make a move because you've been kind of passively waiting for a spot, then you're certainly getting a lot of folds here. He's probably folding crummy aces, king 9 suited. If it's profitable, I sense though, if you do all the math, it's like you're winning like a half a big blind here or something. I would probably, if I'm playing well, just fold and think there's a better spot coming up.
Okay.
That's my first instinct.
I think you're right. Looking back over the other hands, I'd been kind of shoving. Doing a lot of, like there'd be a limp and then I'm on the button with pocket sixes and I got 21 big blinds, just shove it in, blinds fold, original limper folds, a lot of that,
Okay.
So probably a fold because of that. But yeah, I like what you're saying. If I hadn't been real active game flow, my appearance was really tight, then this is probably a great spot to shove because I'll pick up his two bigs, and unless the big blind wakes up with a hand, then.
I mean, is he opening every button? Pretty much, you think?
I don't remember. His numbers are 39-26, but again, we're kind of short-handed, and this is only 23 hands, so that's probably about right.
Right. Again, not a big enough sample size. I don't think shoving is a mistake. It's probably profitable. I think you're getting a lot of folds. You do block some of his calling range there, with queens, obviously. So, I mean, you don't want him to call, but, it's not like... fold. I say fold.
Okay. All right. I end up shoving, and then the big blind wakes up with ace queen. Original opener folds, and we don't catch a 10. So
right. Well, that's just kind of unlucky.
I know that part is, but I'm wondering about the initial shove right there against the button. Because I mean, the big blind has to wake up there with basically what he did, or maybe ace jack, and
but that does factor into the math.
True.
When you're running it all through, but the fact that there's someone else in the hand and not simply that you're closing the action in the big blind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need to. Like I said, I'm not planning on playing too much online, so those spots are not things that I'll probably be studying quite as diligently. But yeah, but in that spot, just generally speaking, I mean, that's what you're looking for with 20 bigs. You're not looking to open pots or hit flops, you're looking to shove over late position openers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you had the guy the guy with all the chips open from the button, and you know what I mean. You got a one gapper, pretty decent hand. So yeah, not a bad hand to do it with.
Okay. All right. With King Jack or Queen Jack, I'm doing that all day long without a second thought. But I thought Queen 10, especially offsuit, I wasn't really sure.
Yeah,
I feel like it's right there. Yeah,
I agree.
Okay. All right. Cool. That's all I got. If you guys want to participate for the live video series, live tells for Zach Elwood, here's what you do, and here's how to win it. Send in a poker hand that you had, a live one, and include any visual tells that you might have had or that you thought you might have had, which led you to calling or to folding. Or you can find one on TV and email me the link so that Zach and I can watch it and we can talk about it on the show. Best entry will win his lifetime video series, which I've watched twice already. Highly recommended. And I'm going to run through it a third time. I think it's one of those ones that you kind of need to, watch once a year just to refresh everything. Kind of like reading The Theory of Poker or one of those standard books, just a good refresher to just keep your live game on. I can't tell you how many times that one of the best ones, Zach has it in his videos. He calls it standing up after a bet. Oh, there's also the other one, too, of raising your arms after a bet, leaning way back in your chair. They can kind of go in the same category. And I saw a guy do this at the 1K event that I played at the WSOP. And I'm like, this guy has aces. It's just every fucking time. The look on his face, the way he moved his arms up, the side that he made. And those are all described in Zach Elwood's videos. And I was able to fold jacks there. And you know what? The other guy had kings and he couldn't fold. And the guy had aces. So it was
yeah.
awesome.
I got somebody. I had a monster hand a few weeks ago, and I guess like a false tell. I try to do like not move around to any, but just do like an ever slightest lean back for like just like an inch.
Yeah.
Before I make it like lean back and then move forward again.
Yep.
Sort of like, oh, I'm weak, but I'm going to do strength, kind of thing. Well, this is all a good argument for all these top players who just don't move a muscle.
Yeah.
Stand rock straight. But afterwards, a guy I know is like, of course he's not bluffing. He's never bluffing. Did you see him lean back? So I guess he had a read on me. This is when I try to do the false. That's one of the one thing I got from that book there, which get the one of the bigger hands I ever lost. I think we discussed this, I'm sure, back in the day. It absolutely crushed me at the time. It was like an $8,000 hand. I think it was like a jack 6 flop where I had pocket sixes.
Okay.
And I bet 10 on the river. And this guy was just absolutely shit-faced. Crazy plays all the time. But he shoves. And I think my bet on the river was probably like $400, and he shoved big. The flush came in. It's a tough spot, obviously.
Wait, you said the board was 6 jack 6 10?
Jack 6 was the flop. I flopped the full house. I don't know what the turn was. The 10 was on the river. Okay. So, I've got the third nuts. Only jack 10 and jacks beat me.
And 10s, yeah.
Well, jack 6 too, I guess. Okay. 10s too. I'm sorry. Yeah. So there's a few things that beat me. And I just remember me trying to put him on hands. I'm like, you got the flush, right? He's like, I do not have the flush. I'm like, well, ace jack. I do not have ace jack. And so there's part where Zach Elwood says is anytime they verbally will take big hands out of their range, they're even bigger.
Yeah. Yep.
So that was like spot on there. And I think there's a couple of other times I've seen that. Because normally if you have, if you're like, I mean, it's just spot on in that spot where I know I've seen it a few times. And for a guy who talks, because if you're bluffing, you're just shutting the fuck up there, or you're talking, but you're not. No, I could have it. I might not have it. But when you say you're taking it totally out of your range, then it's like, then it's usually stronger. So I wish I read his book years ago. I would have been $4,000 richer right now.
Yes. Yes.
And
well,
I could use money.
What's that?
And I could use $4,000, Steve.
I think we all could, Mikey. I think we all could.
By the way, I think Alex Vanosa is willing to come back on the show. He's one of our favorite guests, one of our favorite people. Yes, so he was trying to disown us for a while here, Steve.
I know.
I think Alex. Well, I'll let him tell. I think he's going to end up in Vegas. Good. He's got his good buddies, his crew. He's just so damn good at poker. He can make money. I think long term he probably will return to some sort of something in the academic world.
Yeah.
I mean, he's young, right? He's whatever he is, 24.
26 or something, yeah.
But yeah, so he's willing to come back on there, and well, I'm sure we'll find some good guests either way.
Well, he's one of those guys, kind of like Mike Pearson, that they're so intelligent they can do whatever the hell they want, you know, whatever it is that they're interested, whatever they like to do, you know, they just have that mind that, I mean, like, were you there when those guys were playing speed chess?
Yeah,
it was unbelievable. I mean, Mike was playing two guys at the same time, and it's this on two different chessboards, and it's timed. And not only that, but the caveat of this game, it's called bug out, is whenever you remove a piece from one of the chessboards, because there's two of them, you have to now put that over on the other chessboard, and you can now introduce that piece to the other game, and vice versa. So there's a whole other level to this chess that is a lot of fun, but to play it as fast as those guys do, if you guys know the ranking systems in chess, 1200 is what you start at. After playing it for a year, I was up to about 1400. These guys, Mike, his level, I believe, was 24 or 2500. Just unbelievably good.
Mike was on his way to becoming like a grandmaster, like a true elite, I think, of the game.
He was.
He just got burned out and gave it up at age 14 or whatever. I mean, you got to, you know, like anything else. Well, I mean, Steve, it is something you know, we have our own little areas of expertise. You probably could unhook 3 bras at the same time. One with the left hand, one with the right hand, and one with your teeth where you would just be chewing it off. But, you know, it's still getting it off.
Still effective. Yes. We all have our I just got to figure out how that talent can earn me some dough.
No, it's useless, Steve.
I know. Right on.
Okay, homie. Well, I will talk to you soon.
Alrighty, brother. And you guys can submit your hand, headsuppoker.poker. Go to submit your hand. While you're there, bookmark us on Amazon. Every little purchase that you make on Amazon will get kicked back to the podcast. It doesn't cost you any extra. And a little bit of percentage goes back to the show. Thank you for tuning in. And here is your weekly motivational speech.
I'm motivated by fear. I hate being scared to do something. I started attacking things that I was scared of.
Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. Fear is a choice.
Make a choice. Just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way. God placed the best things in life on the other side of terror. On the other side of your maximum fear are all of the best things in life.
How do you get to the gym every day? You step. How do you change your diet? You step. How do you overcome fear of failure, or fear of success, or fear of fear itself? Take the step. And how do you face the fear of the unknown? Step.
You have the physical body to do something. You have the mental capacity to believe in it. Now what do you want? It's a seed that's planted at birth inside of every single soul. 99% of the people never let that seed blossom into anything. And it's the trials and tribulations of life that either make that seed blossom or not.
We all fall down in life. The question is, who gets back up? You go after and you give it all you had. If you lose, at least you try, man. I failed is 10 times more of a man than someone said, what if? Because what if never went to the arena. When you guys find a fear, that fear will either create you or destroy you. Behind every fear is a person you want to be. Success is not a marathon of life with just ups. Success is formulated through failures, through facing your fears, through falling down and getting back up. That's what creates a champion. Success does not define us. We define the success.
Don't wait anymore. Don't think anymore. Don't plan anymore. Don't contemplate anymore. Don't make any more excuses or justifications. Don't rationalize anything else. Instead, be aggressive. Take action now. The first step you need to take is just that. Step.